Okay, sorry, here we go.
Okay. Good afternoon, Link to the Past Randomizer fans. Welcome to this Week 2 seed between Skullwood's Big Skip and Team 6030 and a third. We are already starting this Ambrosia seed, and oh no! We've got a Cascade Hope that took an early death in the escape at the blue boomerang chest. And Reg from Team 63 and a third taking an early lead. I am Mind of Me, and I'm joined today by Amaranth. How's it going today?
It is going fun. It's early and I'm messing up.
Don't even worry about it. This is one of the last matches of Week 2, this Ambrosia race, where the runners will start an escape. They start with a sword, and they got a hint from Uncle as to where the boots are located. Unfortunately, I missed that hint, but you know what? Well, maybe it'll just be a nice surprise for all of us. The runners will have that information, and we'll just see where they decide to go.
Yeah, or I'll see if I get a chance. I'll go look back and see if I can't find that boots hint and make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, but hey, that's a nice master sword that I didn't see.
That's a really fantastic thing, and it looks like they've got 6 bombs, so I'm assuming that was 2 3-packs. Maybe they got a 3-pack from the Uncle and maybe one in Link's chest or the Sewer's chest. Otherwise, the only other thing, I see 10 arrows. That's probably from one of the chests. And we got the small key, it looks like, from Zelda's chest. The other great thing about Ambrosia is that it can alter your dungeon routing. Generally, each dungeon has a set number of non-dungeon items, and usually they can be in any of the chests in the dungeon. But this time, one of those items is guaranteed to be on the boss. And sometimes that's great. If you've got your crystal Skullwoods, you know that one of those items is going to be on the boss, and you don't need to open up all those other chests. On the other hand, if you've got a pendant Misery Mire, you know that second item is on the boss, and you've got to go find that big key if you want that second item and go all the way to the back.
Yep, and just looking back at the quick replay, we have boots in the light world. Should hopefully be in a nice, fair location, nothing silly like Mimic Cave.
Nice cash hoard in the back of Escape, those early bombs paying off, and our runners will have plenty of bombs for Escape. Boots in the light world can mean a lot of things. It can technically mean, anything like in Kakriko and these Sphere Zero checks, but it could be something awful like a mirror check or a King's Tomb check, or even the pyramid. Or not the pyramid, the tablets.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's just going to be an early location on those boots. Probably find them in Kakriko.
That is something our runners will be hoping for in this seed to make routing a little bit better, especially with that early sword. You don't need to worry about. Reg is going to skip the lumberjack check and go straight into the Lost Woods for the 2 things. Cascade Hope unfortunately had an early death in Escape, taking a death to the blue guard at the boomerang chest, and is going to be a little bit behind. We'll see if that continues. But how about that? How do you feel about Tempered Sword this early?
7-minute Tempered? Wow. this seed is being too nice. I'm wondering what the hang up is going to be, but also I definitely agree with Reg's decision to skip out on checking Lumberjack. It's one of those things that until you actually have the boots, you don't really need to worry about it necessarily. And if you can get the mirror later, once you're doing your Dark World like North checks, just route it in with checking like, Bonk Rocks, Bumper, or
And ideally, maybe even King's Tomb.
absolutely.
Haven't seen a map check from Reg. He might have done that in the rain state. So we'll see if Cascade Hope gives us a map check on their way out of Sanctuary. To the first item dense location in Blind's basement. So far, just rupees and ammo, but maybe there's something in the back.
True, and there's still plenty of checks left in Kakariko, but hey, money in this early game is not to be turned your nose up at. We still have to go visit that scam fish king Zora and see if he's hopefully having an item on us.
Absolutely, and with 500 rupees, you know what? That might not be a bad call. We'll see if we find a glove or early flippers to put that in logic. Runners would obviously love something to make flipper to get into Waterfall Cave to combo that.
Yep, be any combination of the Moon Pearl, or if we get a bow, we could possibly see some Splash Leash.
Only extra bombs in Kakariko Well. We are down to another 3 checks in Kakariko proper. Book is interesting.
Well, that's a book. Could be the seed pointing out to us saying, hey, you need to go to desert early.
And there's a boomerang, but not the one that we need to set up that Ancilla. Without knowing if desert is a pendant or a crystal, it's difficult to say what call our runners will do. I think right now they'll probably just prioritize South Shore. Without glove and without a fire source, desert not being full clearable is a little bit of a gamble, regardless of pendant or crystal.
Yeah, it seems fairly reasonable. Go clear up South Shore, do Mini Moldorm Cave, get those 5 checks in there. See kind of where you're at once that's up, and then decide, okay, I'm going to head over to either Eastern Palace and dip Sashala's Hut and a couple items you can get in there, or decide to go over to Desert because, that's where it seems the game wants to push you right now. Or it could be saying, hey, way later in the game, there's going to be something on Bombo's tablet.
That's absolutely true. But so far in our Sphere 0, we've got, a bunch of swords and a book. Our runners are going to be looking to see if they can find any other progression items, and we do get a map check. Desert is a crystal, so I can imagine that they would like to put that off until desert is clearable. We've got a red pendant at Hera and a 5/6 at Eastern.
Very interesting layout. Also, note, Reg is skipping the dam for now. Probably going to route that in when they move on over to check desert.
Yeah, that's a very common play to go and combo the dam checks with desert. That way it feels like desert isn't quite as far of a walk, and you save a few steps going into Mini Moldorm.
Yeah, my only personal worry about doing that is what if, the flippers or the Moon Pearl was there? That's a hammer, though, and a fire rod, though.
Hammer and Fire Rod. Hammer doesn't open up anything for us yet, but Fire Rod is a fire source for desert, is also something that could let us into the back of Eastern if we find either a glove or a bow. Respectively, I mean.
Allowing us to complete one of either of those dungeons.
course, Eastern would be dependent on the big key layout. We would need the big key to not be in its vanilla location.
And given just pure random chance, it is very possible that it won't be in that location. Oh, a mirror.
That's so nice to find early. That makes Dark World routing much better. Once we get mountain access, we'll be able to actually clear Tower of Hera for that red pendant.
Early mirror always tends to worry me though, because it's sort of the game saying, hey, there's might be something in the Swamp Palace early. You're going to want to check sooner rather than later. And a lot of times that ends up being a, hey, you know, we decided to stick hookshot in.
Could also be pointing to any of the really awkward mirror locations like Mimic Cave or the tablets, as you had mentioned earlier.
Hey, those are our boots though. Soggy.
Okay, so we are now only a glove away from being able to complete Desert, but those boots do open up one more location in Bonk Rocks.
And they do indeed allow us to go fast.
So I think Reg feels really good about his routing decision. Might have liked to have those boots a little bit earlier, but still I think saved steps overall.
Yeah, just because the routing lost maybe like a couple seconds on it, can't feel too.
Nothing in Agena today. Only 2 items will be available in Desert without the glove. There will be the one item in the front, as the second item is guaranteed to be on Lan Molas, and there will be the one on Desert Ledge.
You had me there a second because I was like, wait a minute, there's only 2 items in the desert, and then I realized, we're looping in the Desert Ledge, which, hey, those are some flippers.
Okay, Flippers is really nice, and you know what? You had called that mirror may be pointing at Swamp Palace. Early Hammer and Flippers are another part of that information. And you know what? We might be going in there looking for any number of things. We don't know if it's going to be a pendant or a crystal yet, obviously, but Swamp can lead you in circles.
Very true, but with having early tempered, if Swamp turns out to be a crystal, once we have our Dark World access, I think you can just go for it this early, because just get it out of the way and put that peace of mind of the seed has fed me all this stuff for Swamp. Let me just do it and be done with it.
Okay, and Cascade Hope is doing a water walk with the boots to go check Hobo rather than going into Desert. I wonder if this might be because they felt behind with that early death in Escape and feel like, you know what, I'm in the area, I have the boots, let's set up this water walk, see if we can save a little bit of time.
Not really finding too much of note, though I'm sure it would have been nice if they would have been able to store that water walk, just do a fake flipper up to the Hobo, and then use the water walk at Hobo to get to the Waterwall Fairy Cave.
We see the one accessible item inside of Desert Palace is a shield on the torch. Reg is going to say no thanks to that, but we'll grab those flippers from Desert Ledge and we'll likely follow Cascade Hope into these flipper checks. Reg will be able to set up or be able to check Waterfall Fairy, which Cascade Hope will not be able to at this time.
Yes, hopefully for Cascade's sake, there's nothing super important there, like the Moon Pearl or, you know, one of the gloves. But things will start to bottleneck, and Cascade will be forced to be able to get those flippers and make that check eventually.
At least it's fairly quick with the portal right in front of Ice Palace to just dive in there. Can easily set up another water walking state from Mini Moldworm Cave if they choose to. Luckily, nothing is on Zora Ledge, won't need to come back for that, and we'll see what the Scamfish holds for us today.
Hey, we got a glove. That's important.
That is 100% important, and now that means Cascade Hope can clear Desert Palace and will save a trip, so that fake flipper paying off. But looks like Cascade Hope is going to go and check Bonk Rocks first. And maybe break up the mountain. With that mirror and hammer, they would be able to also full clear Tower of Hera and check all of the East Death Mountain.
Yep, and if you find either the lamp or the flute along your way, you have the sight on where the other will possibly be, and that's the Moon Pearl in Bonk Rocks, and that is our Dark World access.
That's amazing to find. Oh my gosh. This is paying off for Cascade Hope. But Waterfall Fairy having a bow.
Oh, wow. Cascade gonna check the Lumberjack now real quick.
As you mentioned before, it's something that once you get the boots, it puts it a little bit more in your mind. I couldn't quite tell what that was, but Cascade Hope didn't do a double take on it, so I don't think it'll be anything important.
Let me see if I can catch it on the Twitch end real quick. It looks like a red rupee.
Okay, Red gonna grab his gloves from Zora. Probably feels really great. He now has all the pieces to clear the 2 Light World crystals.
Meanwhile, Cascade Hope is going to wander in the dark, find an old man, and end up on top of a mountain.
And Rig is going to go and do Eastern first. This makes sense. He's already cleared out most of the Eastern area. There's 6 items available, or cleared out the desert area. There's 6 items available in Eastern. Might as well go for the more item-dense location. He has not checked Bonk Rocks, doesn't have that Moon Pearl yet. So would be looking for that. Does not want to see a lamp, however.
Yeah, not too bad though, because eventually you'll be bottlenecked into the Bonk Rock check, and you're clearing crystal anyway. That you can pretty much do the dungeon hands down. Most people can do the dark rooms in Eastern Palace without too much trouble, so it doesn't feel too bad not finding the Moon Pearl here.
Only a piece of heart from the old man, but Cascade gets the all-important save and quit point. And yeah, if only Cascade Hope had used that water walk and went straight to Waterfall Fairy instead of going to Hobo first. Could have gotten that bow with the water walk and then also the glove and be in almost the exact same state as Rig.
Yeah, the only difficulty in that is making sure that you line up the water walk on the first shot. If you actually miss getting the fake flipper, if you miss getting the fake flipper on the first shot, you actually delete your water walk.
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay, nothing inside or on top of Spectacle of Rock. Rig did get an early big key, so Armos is in Logic. We'll see if there is an item in that dark room.
Meanwhile, we got the Ether Tablet going on over here for just another piece of heart, bringing Cascade Hope up to a nice 5.
And first item in Eastern is only 10 arrows, while Cascade Hope is entering inside of Pendant Tower of Hera. What we'd love to see is that early big key just like that. What would be best for Cascade Hope is if there is an item in this other chest, and then they would know they can go straight to Moldor.
Hey, there's the item.
We've got 2 god dungeons here. Reg got the big key and then 2 items, being 10 arrows and 3 bombs, and knows that he can just go straight to the boss for that 3rd item. And Cascade Hope knows as well, can go straight to Moldorm for that 2nd.
Yeah, I'm interested to see once we can get to the Dark World map checks what crystals we're going to have there, and hopefully be able to skip out on either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock and save quite a bit of time on those lengthy dungeons.
Those two dungeons requiring the Cane of Samaria, although maybe these two runners, I don't know how practiced they are, they might be looking for that Cane of Samaria. There were some glitches that help speed up Swamp and Ice Palace that involve the Cane of Samaria. So if those come up, we'll talk a little bit more about them. They are legal for this race, but we have dueling boss fights coming up here.
On Cascade's End, we have a tempered, I was gonna say tempered Moldorm. Moldorm should go down fairly quickly, but takes the middle hole.
And Reg just misses the quick kill setup for Armos Knights. Gets his first crystal and a big 20. I'm curious where Reg is going to go next. If he's going to get that second item on Landmo or maybe follow those boots checks.
Judging by the start location, it looks like we're going to clear out the Landmo.
Piece of heart on Moldorm and gets a red pendant. Despite early boots book for both of these runners being on Bottle Vendor, there was no ped check. It is a bit of a trek to get up there. They didn't have the boots at the time. And you know what? They have the whole world open to them. No real reason to go for that.
Yeah, true. And then it'll actually be more convenient to route in the a ped check with Skull Woods once you go back to Moth.
Indeed. And Cascade Hope did a map check right after getting that pendant. I wonder if that might have been a tracking mistake. He might have accidentally thought that Tower of Hera was a crystal and was a little bit confused by that pendant. We'll have to bring that up later.
Yeah, it's something that'll often happen with runners. If you just mark a little bit too quickly, you think that red pendant is a red crystal instead, and whoops, I did an accidental dungeon.
Spiral Cave, our first bottle.
Nice convenient little fairy in, nice little safety for later.
Exactly. And because we have the mirror, we don't need to worry about losing that, about that fairy messing up our potential death warps. It is 100% safety. Into Paradox Cave, another 7 items here while Reg makes their way to the back of Desert. Nothing in Paradox 2. We'll see if there's something in Paradox 5.
A very nice hookshot pickup. At least that won't be in Swamp Palace today.
No, indeed, but it once again kind of says, we have Mirror Flipper's hammer and the hookshot?
Everything you could possibly want to go to Swamp. Get you to the Dark World, check out that hype cave, and jump on in what is probably Pendant Swamp for Titan's Myths, I bet.
And Cascade Hope looked like they were trying to decide if they wanted to go to the Dark World or go to Desert. Are going to go to Desert, will be rewarded with their flippers. As Reg is using a combination Tempered and Fire Rod shots to take care of the Landmo. Just a piece of heart. So Reg is going to be barricaded into going and checking that Bonk Rocks. I don't believe we've actually cleared out all of the available Light World checks right now.
Yeah, I believe Bonk Rocks is the only thing left in logic for Reg.
Knows that it's got to have some kind of progression on here. He's hoping that it's the Moon Pearl. Could just as well, from Reg's perspective, could just as well be a lamp or some kind of fetch quest, but he'll be quite happy to see it. And then I imagine we'll enter the Dark World from this portal right here and do the South Dark World loop. And we'll get our first map check.
Hooray.
This is the second time these two teams have met this week. As we know, in the league format, every team plays each other twice. This week it was Skullwood's Big Skip versus Team 63 in a third. The earlier match this week was Karnath versus Fleck. Karnath took the win for Team 63 in a third by about 5 minutes.
And that was not a red rupee upon Lumberjack. That is the other bow.
Oh, fascinating. Well, you know what? I'm sure with Tempered Sword, neither of these runners are going to be thinking about getting it, and there's at this point no other reason to check Aga, but we are getting a pet check from Reg.
Very interesting. But it'll be something that's on Cascade's mind a little bit because they haven't found the bow that's in Waterfall Ferry yet, so they may think that that might be their first bow.
And Ped is just cash. We can forget about it. Potentially no reason to clear pendant dungeons, or even if we do have to clear pendant dungeons, no reason to spend time on the pendant fanfare. We'll have to see when Cascade Hope decides to follow that waterfall ferry. And we get our Dark World map check. Our other 5-6 is at Turtle Rock with green pendant ice. And hey, look, pendant swamp with everything we need to clear it. Not in logic. That hookshot is out of logic at the moment.
At least until we find something that puts it in logic.
Yep, we would be looking for the lamp or the flute to give us access to Death Mountain at this point. But Reg, you know, with a fire rod and a tempered sword, no reason to not clear Crystal Skull Woods right now. It's going to check this middle chest on the way to the back. Knows that one of the items will be on Mothula. And honestly, this check is the same amount of time whether you check it back to front or front to back. Might as well.
Yep, and if it's a key, it just speeds up your back a little bit more.
Only a map, but nice timing from the Wallmaster. Very.
Wish I could get timings like that from the Wallmaster. It's always like they're long gone or I just missed it. That, however, is not a well-timed Wallmaster.
No, that was an unfortunate Wallmaster right there. Curious that Reg decided to check Ped before going into Skullwoods. I think with the mirror it would have been a little bit quicker to do it, you know, right now, so you didn't need to traverse Lost Woods back and forth.
Might be one of those things you just get it on your mind. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go to Bonk Rocks. I'm gonna check Ped, and then I'm gonna go do whatever the Bonk Rocks led me to, not realizing, oh hey, now I have Dark World access. I can go into Skull Woods and do that in the reverse order.
But Cascade Hope does get their first crystal at 30 minutes from Lanmolas. And it is true that these runners are often, you know, while they're in their overworld, they're planning, you know, 3 to 4 to 6 steps ahead, trying to get the ideal routing. You know, sometimes dungeon, and then in dungeons you're focusing on execution. But luckily for Cascade Hope is taking those flippers from Desert Ledge and is going right to Waterfall Cave. We'll get that bow.
And say goodbye, Aga. We do not need you today.
That is probably a huge relief for Cascade Hope. And Reg has a very nice modular fight, easy with that tempered sword. Gets a piece of heart.
And this will actually also work out fairly well for Cascade too, because down with that bow, they can start their Dark World over at a Hype Cave, make their way over to Palace of Darkness, clear out Pod, and then Mirror, clear out Eastern.
Yeah, although it looks like they're going to go and take the portal at either they're going to Eastern first or they're taking the portal by Flute Spot 5. Might have been a little bit better to go and check Hype Cave first. You might find your lamp in there and make pod routing a bit better. With a fire rod, it's not terrible, but any efficiencies are okay.
Yeah, just one of those things, because those turtles really like to bully you.
Cascading getting their information about the Dark World, sees that pendant swamp, knows their hookshot is out of logic, so they know that, whatever is on Argus is not going to lead them to logical mountain access.
Or the back half, the 2 flooded chests plus the waterfall effect chest in the swamp.
Absolutely.
So let's see what our last item here in Skull Woods is. If the game will be nice and put it somewhere quick.
Cascade Hope got a little bit bullied by the Murder Dactyl on the way into pod. Still on Greed Mail, we'll have to be a little bit careful. And no, it looks like Skullwoods is going to be mean. It's either going to be in the big chest or in this pinball room.
It is indeed the big chest. Thank you, game. Right where we wanted it.
We had such lovely light world dungeons, and now it just seems like the dark world is going to be a complete butt.
And that's the bottle.
Okay, that's nice. So that's a in-logic bottle for Reg. We'll be able to check Sick Kid as he makes his way through Village of Outcasts. Cascade Hope did not mirror and check Sahasrahla, unless I missed that, while he was on his way into pod.
Does not look like he did.
Okay, we'll probably be checking it on the way out. Oh, that's an interesting find on Bumper Ledge. The blue mail.
We'll see if our runners eventually do go to pick that up, because it's a little bit out of the way for just one of the safeties, but green to blue mail is kind of nice.
Yeah, and it also is one of those things where if you find the cape and maybe if you're in the area, it might not save that much time. Or might not waste that much time, rather. Rick saying no to that second shield. Knows that he would be maxed out at a red shield, was like, no, I don't need any stinking shields here.
The game just saying, are you sure you don't want the Playco brand fun shield? This is the second time I've offered it to you, are you sure?
I wonder with the flippers if Reg might be doing the routing to Catfish this way rather than Village of Outcasts. There was a question in chat about if either of them have done Hype Cave, and no, neither of them have entered the Dark World from that portal. Reg got Dark World access at Bonk Rocks with the Moon Pearl and then went straight into the portal north of Village of Outcasts. Cascade Hope did have the opportunity, but he decided to go all the way over to the Flute Spot 5 portal to combo Eastern and Pod.
After sequence breaking the mountain and getting the hookshot.
Okay, Reg not continuing on to Catfish, just go back to Village of Outcasts, does find the lamp. So Reg's progression through pod will be much easier, won't have to be doing the slow sword walking in the dark. And I am sorry, I have not... Oh, Cascade is actually in Eastern, I'm sorry. I was having a little bit of trouble finding the torch.
Yeah, this room is one of those weird torch rooms, or door rooms, where it actually spits you out of the door a little bit farther than you think it does. So instead of having to move up and then turn right to hit the lamp, you just literally turn right and fire rod and you'll hit the... And that's butter.
Okay, there is absolutely no way, even if our runners, don't feel confident in their Ganon execution. There's no way either of them are going to do Aga for those silvers.
I can't imagine.
Okay, but was the first item in Thieves' Town. We know there's going to be 3 that are not on the boss. Big key has to be one of these front 4. Well, that's a small key. So there's going to be at least 1 item in the back. Okay, the other 2 items are in the back. There you go, Cascade getting his 2nd crystal. Has cleared out all the Light World dungeons, but is a crystal behind.
Yep, I'm curious to see where Cascade's going to start Dark World after Pod here, if they decide to go Hype Cave or kind of like Reg did and do the Village of Outcasts, Skull Woods area. That was an interesting little spooky kill on those red blobby guys.
It's always amazing all the places that we can set up spooky, but we are getting our first look at Pod here. Small key, can save some time and go through that middle door. Ten bombs being the 2nd item in Tower of Hera. That's right, Thieves' Town, sorry about that.
That other key dungeon.
Cascade going bow side first. With the hammer and the boots, this isn't terrible routing. It's not too bad to go and grab these 2 chests, go across, and then bonk across to...
I'm always in favor of this kind of routing just because I can sort of count my keys a little better going this way.
Yeah, that's fair. We do know that there has to be, because these 2 chests are right close together, the other 3 chests in the middle are a little bit farther apart. So that's 2 keys from the front, and we know that there is going to be 2 keys on the middle side, so we may be able to skip that big chest.
Cane of Burnet, the thieves have a big chest there.
That will put Spike Cave into logic once Red goes up.
And that was the big key there in the bridge chest, so nothing but small keys left remaining in the front chest of Pod.
That's really nice to know.
So Cascade will just jump down, get that one skeleton basement chest. You can move on to the rest of the dungeon.
Reg taken on blind. Staying fairly well on script here.
And just some arrows from the big thief today.
Okay, but that's already crystal number 4, and we find Bombos in the dark basement of Pod. We do know we'll need at least 1 medallion for Meyer and Turtle Rock. And we had really fortunate pod key layouts. Actually, both Harmless Hellway and the big chest are going to be key for a key. So if you really know your pod key logic, you could save, a lot of time.
Alright, Cascade, heading into a little bit dangerous territory here. I'm going to do the Dark Maze with 1 heart. Has that fairy though, but will hopefully not want to use it. There it goes.
I would be using that Bombos right now, and we get Quake from the 6th. Bombos will go and take care of all these mini Helmas in the room quite nice and quickly. Make it a little bit safer. Yeah, use Bombos. Come on. I live for the Bombos, but Ether is my favorite. Freezing them is a little bit quicker. And
I kind of like freezing them too because it gives you a little bit more sort of like a guidance around the dark maze because you have something to reference aside from your sword while you're moving.
3 digs for a bottle Lugu, so we are set for safeties. I don't think Reg, once he finds the cape, if he finds the cape, is going to go back for that blue mail.
Hey, speaking.
There's the other mail. Okay, so I believe that mail on Bumper Ledge is just going to get left the way it is. There was only 20 rupees in the Dark Maze for Cascade Hope, so we'll see what that final item is on Helmasaur.
Magic powder on Stumpy there.
More safeties, another fetch quest. I imagine that unless that powder holds our Titan's mitts, Reg not likely to check it unless they are doing the Smith check.
Yeah, very likely that could end up being the last location for them, just because if you're gonna go there, you want to route it in with the Smith. So if gloves are on the bat, that feels kind of bad.
Although we will need to go back to Kakariko at some point to activate the flute required for Misery Mire. You get a blue thing off of Bombo's tablet, but only bombs, so neither of the tablets hold.
Someone stole that darn O off Bombos again.
Alright, I think we're finally going to get our Hype Cave check. I can't imagine Reg gonna dive into Pendant Swamp without the hook.
Before checking Hype Cave.
And also having, Pod to clear as well as a Crystal Dungeon. There's our other boomerang, just a little bit too late for Ancilla. A full heart and a piece of heart for a refill. That's all that we have there.
So I'm looking at what we have in Logic and what we've checked already between the two runners, aside from Pyramid Ledge coming up here, which I imagine Reg will probably not check. Never mind. There are not many more places that our progression could be, and it's looking like we are going to be needing either that glove or that flute real soon.
Yeah, we've got Pyramid Ledge, we have Catfish, we have Spike Cave via that Cane of Burna and the lamp that Reg found, and we have that powder as well.
Yeah, so starting to have like limited choices, and they're all starting to be I don't like these decision choices.
Yeah, we'll see what that final item is though on Helma. If that's the flute, that's really nice. That'll get Reg up to the mountain, get them their hook shot. We'll be able to check Spike Cave. But that's really all it gives. Ideally, they'd like to find the Titan's Mitts. And oh no, Cascade Hope taking a death on the way to Helma. And is gonna skip out for now. Those dark rooms doing him in.
Yeah, those turtles are always very rough. Like I said, they can bully you quite a bit.
Okay.
Cascade also remembering they didn't check Sahasrara. I'm gonna go dip that in now.
Okay, Reg getting that big key knows that there has to be 2 small keys in that front area, and at least 1 small key on this side is going to do that same routing. And we'll be able to clear this dungeon quite effectively. And with the lamp and butter sword, I don't imagine we'll have any issues getting to Helmasaur either.
And when Cascade Save quit after Sahashla there, looks like they're going to be heading over to the Skullwood Village of Outcast area, kill themselves a moth, have a lamp in their possession soon enough.
This is both Reg's and Cascade's first match of the league. They did not race in week 1. Skullwood's Big Skip had faced What Are You Doing in My Swamp Palace, and they took both wins that week. Team 63 1/3 faced Beard Force 1 in week 1, which was the open week, and they split their games. So both of these teams would love to be able to go and take the 3 points in the win today to get up to 9 points within their division. Right now, the Phendrana Drifters and the Titans Mitts have a 2-way tie for first place with 9. They have already completed all 4 of their matches. So this could easily be a 3-way tie for first place within the Pyramid of Power division.
And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the upcoming weeks. Do either of those teams play each other in the next week?
Yes, indeed. In fact, Skullwood's Big Skip will face Titans Mitts in Enemizer next week. And actually, Team 63 1/3 is going to face the Phendrana Drifters. So no matter what, that will likely be one of the tiebreakers.
Very interesting. Both those teams, the Drifters and the Titans Mitts, containing some very strong, very notable team members.
Absolutely. They were they were the teams that were favored at the outset, so it's not too surprising that they're in first place here. So once either of these teams are able to take the win today, of course there is always a possibility of a tie. We have seen ties in this league. Reg's spending a lot of time on this hammer-up.
That looks good, I think.
But that was a good 3 or 4 attempts. It probably would have been quicker for them to just use the key and go through the maze in the intended fashion.
Very likely. It's one of those moments where you kind of hit sunk cost fallacy and you're like, well, I'm already here, I'm already doing this, I may as well just finish this off. Even though it would be more worth it just to scrap it and go the other way.
Okay, Reg with that single small key. I believe he did skip Harmless Hellway. So I'm not sure why he's grabbing an extra key here.
Item miscount potentially, or will ensure on their key lot.
Potentially. Knows that there has to be a item on the boss, and they have all the dungeon items anyway, so even if there wasn't ambrosia, there would have to be a key, an item on the boss.
That might have been the moment of forgetting of, hey, this is ambrosia, there's guaranteed on the boss, and been like, oh wait, there could be an item in this house.
True.
Because it's one of those things I always forget where it's like, oh, I'm playing ambrosia. There has to be an item on the box.
Yeah, it can happen a lot, especially in, it happens more frequently in some of the smaller item count dungeons like Mire or Skull Woods, but it can happen in the big ones too, like Turtle Rock and Pod. where it's like, did I pick up 4 items or 5? Is there still an item on the boss? I have all the dungeon items. Better just check just to make sure, because you don't want to abandon an item either.
Yeah, abandoning an item feels bad, and this is actually the first time I've seen the trunk sprite used. You got a good laugh there for a second. That the bunny of the trunk sprite is Yamcha.
I'm not familiar with. Oh no, Cascade Hope taking a death to Mothula. Oh, this is unfortunate for them. They've already used their fairy earlier when they were taking on the Dark Turtles. Took a death in this final hallway on the way to Helmasaur. It's gonna have to farm up some magic in this room here, and unfortunately, I don't think any of these enemy pools have the magic drop.
Doesn't look like it. I would go ahead, honestly, one more room, pick up those 2 pots, and then just get grabbed by the Wall Master one more time.
No need to switch to the bow for Reg. Gold sword to a spin and a slash is more than enough to take down Helmasaur. And what item do we have from?
It's the mid.
Oh no! I mean, that's great news for Reg, but oh my gosh.
But that is bad news
Cascade
for
Hope having to leave pod after taking a death in the turtle rooms because no lamp. We'll get the lamp in Village of. But right now, we are a Samaria and a flute from No Mode. And Reg just needs to go and head up the mountain to get their hook shot. We'll be able to check Dark Death Mountain as well.
And may find that flute Samaria up there.
Yeah, I think it's either up there or it's on the Smith chain or on that powder. Or the other 2 West Dark World Overworld checks being Pyramid and Catfish.
There's also the possibility of sitting deep in Swamp Palace or Ice Palace. Like I said, considering we had that mirror in the. Never know.
Alright, Cascade gets their 3rd crystal from Mothula. Happy to get it. Happy to see that moth. I'm gonna be curious if Reg decides to dip into Pendant Hera first, or if they decide just to go straight to the East Death Mountain side. Reg getting that big key and item in Hera early is going to be really tempting to just fly up the tower. Won't have hookshot for Hera pot to save a little bit more time.
True, but they may just dip in, find the one item, and skip out, thinking, okay, well, it is just one item. Well, you do need 2 items. Doesn't feel too bad knowing that it's just Moldorm. You can come back, you know exactly where that item is. You're not worried, oh, well, I could be leaving it in the.
That's true.
And if I find the hookshot later, I can just Herapod up.
Interesting play from Cascade Hope going down the hole to do the Skullwoods routing. I believe that there would have to be a small key in one of these 3 chests.
Yes, with the item on the moth, the map that was in the middle room, I think there was a key underneath the bridge, so there has to be 2 keys in the back.
So good knowledge there, because otherwise it would be entirely possible to soft lock yourself in there and have to save and quit out.
And that's never fun. Reg heading up the tower to kill us a mold. Can't really blame them. Tower of Hera is a really quick dungeon. Just even if it's just for the one item, Moldorm dies in like 5 seconds with cold.
Reg, Ambrosia. Ambrosia.
That's one of those things. Like I said with the runners, I just, whoops, forgot I was playing Ambrosia. Just, man, all these bosses conveniently dropping items.
Ooh, and Cascade accident, was that a death or did he accidentally mirror?
I didn't quite see. He had bombs equipped, so it looked like it was a death.
Alright. Buttersword Moldorm, no problem. Doesn't get bullied down the hole. And Cascade has to be a little bit careful, otherwise is going to have to repeat this again. Oh, Reg was trying to mirror, but accidentally caught the pendant, has to sit through the fanfare. Reg knows that pedestal is not anything.
Cascade taking another death there in the front part of Skullwoods.
Oh, I see. Reg did not check this chest at the front, so where that other item was. So he was still looking for the non-Moldorm item.
Aha. A convenient excuse.
Very convenient, I think. Could have saved a little bit more time by just going and checking that chest from the beginning, but you know what? It's a fair play. There's equal chances of that item being upstairs as opposed to on there. I don't think we saw that blue rupee earlier from Cascade. Good to know we don't need to go and check that island. There's that fairy in a bottle for Reg, and Cascade Hope happy to leave Skullwoods far behind. We'll do the Village of Outcast checks, get their lamp, and I imagine clear Thieves Town right after.
Yep, and Reg gonna do some good routing here. Gonna check Paradox Cave, mix it with Super Bunny Hookshot Cave. Get their hookshot and whatever lies in these Dark World checks that we do not know yet.
I actually like the other routing of doing Paradox first to climb up the mountain, and then you can see if you have the medallion for TR and open it right there using the TR portal. And then you save a little bit of time traversing through Super Bunny by doing it from the top rather than having to mirror and hookshot clip through the Super Bunny blocks.
True, but unfortunately we don't have the Kingdom of Mario, so even if we did open TR, we can't really get in there right yet. So. I don't know, I'd be interested in looking at which type of routing actually ends up being faster, if there is a difference.
I know in terms of climbing the mountain, it's always quicker to climb, like if you're, like for instance, going to Ganon's Tower. If you don't have the Turtle Rock portal open, it's quicker to climb from that dark portal. But if you're going to open the Turtle Rock portal anyway, it's much quicker to climb via Mini Moldorm as long as you don't get dead rocked. And Super Bunny always takes a little bit of time, especially if you miss that hookshot clip. I think Reg could have salvaged it with a mirror clip as well, but... Two new checks here in Super Bunny.
Another fetch quest.
And another heart. Reg nice and healthy. Cascade still hasn't gotten that blue mail from K45.
Imagine I'll find that soon enough though, and that's Quake for Turtle Rock.
Okay, so we can open up Turtle Rock. We are not on a search for that medallion. Two more chances for the mountain to pay off. We've got 4 chests here in Hookshot Cave. And then also Spike Cave available.
And Cascade taking an unfortunate death there in Thieves Town before they could open the attic.
And Reg, having super luck, almost got bounced off by the Bari, but managed to stay on the ledge. Nothing in Hookshot Cave, however.
Yeah, gonna finish off these Dark Death Mountain checks off with the Spike Cave.
And where would you be going? Would you be going and checking those two West Dark World in terms of Pyramid and Catfish, or would you be doing the Smith Chain and checking those Powder and Shovels fetch quests?
Honestly, like I had said way earlier, I would be very tempted to jump into Swamp Palace because, like I said, that early mirror, that early hammer, early flippers, it's just yelling Swamp Palace at you. And if I'm wrong, I just bite the bullet, but that's my opinion.
Okay, Reg, starting from Sanctuary, this is likely going to be Smith Chest, checking those fetch quests, and if nothing pops up on those, then I think they dive into Swamp. Because when they turn in the purple chest, they'll conveniently be right there.
Yeah, I don't hate this route. Unless you check off two fetch quests that are pretty close to each other, so it's not bad.
So what are you hoping to find first, Samaria or the flute?
I would want to personally find the flute first, because then that lets you, gives you a little bit more quicker overworld access. You're likely looking at finishing Misery Mire first, and then having to do Turtle Rock and do an extra mountain climb. But if you find Samaria first, so be it.
And 2 hammer pegs, only a piece of heart.
Dwarven Breadsmiths, what are you crafting for us today? A big ol' thank you.
Oh, it's a Valentine. Now, if you find the flute first, do you continue this Smith Chain?
I would actually say yes, because you could activate your flute and then take the purple chest on over to the turn-in.
That makes absolutely sense. But Magic Bat did not hold our progression.
Cursed us with $50.
Cascade Hope having a much easier time at Thieves Town, takes down Blind, hits their 4th crystal. Now only 1 crystal behind Reg, but needs to go all the way back to Pod for that. And there's that lamp for Cascade Hope. That makes Pod much more appealing. Okay, Shovel, this is the only check that we didn't see from Dark Death Mountain. No vanilla flute, just $50.
Goodbye, money. We don't need you with the ever-growing amount of cash that we have. Reg, leaving the purple chest behind, going to be doing the... Is it like... I can't remember what it's called exactly. Is it the fake purple chest? Is it like the...
It's basically, I think it's essentially abusing the length of time that it takes for the game to clear flags. So While the chest is still in the Dark World, it still counts as a follower, even though it's several screens behind. And when you mirror, it takes the game a little bit of time to delete that following flag. And so if you go and if you go and talk to the guy while that flag is still active, obviously the guy still thinks the chest is with you. And there we go, Reg going into Swamp Palace. This makes perfect sense. 6 items as opposed to 4 in Green Pendant Ice Palace.
I think the one thing to question though is if you find the flute or the cane here, do you keep going or do you abandon it?
Well, if you find the cane, I think you probably keep going because, well, I mean, it depends on where you find the cane, obviously. Because of those new glitches that we talked about, there is a Ancilla, or rather a Samaria block glitch in Swamp called Diver Down that lets you route Swamp Palace a little bit more efficiently. Especially the left-hand side. You can grab that small key under the pot without having to flip the switch or drain the water if you have Cane of Samaria. Then you can go back. You still do have to drain the water and flip the switch to get the left side checks, but it means that it's one less trip into that room. I don't know if Reg has practiced that glitch, but if we find Cane of Samaria early, it might be something that we keep an eye out for. But we did find a map, so we do know there's at least one item on the left side of Swamp.
A potential treat for us if we find the appropriate items.
And yeah, Cascade Hope is going to go right back to Pod. Needs to get those Titan's mitts. Our flute could be on Pyramid or Catfish. But those are very isolated checks for both of our runners now.
And thinking about it, looking at it, our flute could also still potentially be on Fat Fairy.
Yeah, if we find Samaria first, it could absolutely be here from Turtle Rock. So you could be required to complete Turtle Rock, go to Fat Fairy, get your flute.
Uh-oh, I see Reg switch to bombs. That is the other setup for Diver Down.
Okay, so hype chat, getting some new Ancilla glitching. It's a form of splash deletion.
I think it's a little bit closer to a rail flip because you.
Flip that's right. Because because you don't want a fake flipper. You want to be on a water walking. It gets that key.
Yeah, and it's technically considered not water walking. And I didn't know you could do that with the bomb there on the last frame that you leave the frame.
But very cool.
I'd never seen that. That was kind of cool. I'll have to clip.
And I'm sorry that I was naming it. But here we go, left side swamp. We know at least one item's over here since we found that early. Only 5 rupees.
So not too much. But hey, we got to see the thing, and it was cool.
Okay. And we are going to see the other one as well, which is the same similar setup here to get to these two water.
Yep. Knock yourself into the rail and jump into the water from an unexpected area. And then the game does not think that you have jumped into water. You just jump onto the floor and then water. This is definitely not water.
Absolutely not. But Cascade Hope takes his revenge on the turtles and their turtle god, takes out Helmasaur, gets his Titan's mitts, and will likely go up to the mountain. But no, is going to go and probably check those two items on Pyramid and Catfit.
Yep, and if it's anywhere ranging from Flute, Cane, or even Ice Rod, which we do still need, and we've been forgetting a little bit, could be big for Cascade Hope.
All right, Reg, had 2 or 3 attempts, decided, you know what, I'm not getting this. Maybe hasn't had enough practice on that setup for that room. Just going to do it vanilla. Probably feels pretty good about their routing up until, after Dark Death Mountain, leading to nothing.
That's a red cane. Showing disdain for that chest. I mean, hey, I called it, right? And that's a big key. Gonna be having to head in for one of the last.
Alright, what is on Pyramid Ledge? Only a red rupee, okay. If Cascade Hope can find Flute on Catfish, this might be advantageous for them and a chance to make up some time. We'll still need to dive into Pendant Swamp for that Cane of Samaria, but if they decide to go straight to the back rather than doing left side, using butter to cut through those puffs. Little hard to do the fire rod strat if you don't have it.
Yeah, that part makes it just a little bit difficult.
Okay, nothing on Catfish and nothing on Argus. But that red cane does mean we can dive into Turtle Rock, unable to complete without the ice.
So, quick question.
Shoot.
Ice Rod, nice.
I mean, of course. We have Fire Rod and Bombo, so it's gotta be.
It's either there or it's in its natural home on Laser Ridge, right?
Yeah. No. Flute's and Pyramid Fairy,
Oh.
Okay, Cane of Samaria. So, Reg, do you go into Pendant Ice Palace? It looks like that is the play.
Yeah, not wanting to hit up the mountain one more time, can certainly understand wanting to go just finish out Ice.
And you know what? With that Cane of Samaria, we may be treated to another one of these fantastic little glitches that was approved by our racing council yesterday. A door extension glitch, the special name of in Ice Palace, Calling. I'm gonna talk about this a little bit now because it saves it is a new tech. Ice Palace bomb jump is not required in this, and it saves a ton of time in Ice Palace.
Yeah, I think overall it saves a good 30 seconds over the normal.
So normally you go down here, you get the chest and the pen gators, then go into that right room to hit the switch, go back out and bomb the floor in the Stalthos. With Icebreaker, you don't need to do the berry room, you don't need to do Stalfos room, you don't need to do that spike hallway, you don't need to do the Ice Palace bomb jump room or those other rooms. You can just go through this other door here on the right side and clip through this rail using a well-placed Samaria block.
Doesn't quite get it. Gotta restart it one more.
This unlike the diver down applications, this one, you know what, even if it takes you 5 or 6 times, it still saves you time. And you're also able to check items right away. Normally Ice Palace, you know, you check that first, and there we go. Nice icebreaker from Reg, getting a compass, but you know what, that's fine. There are 2 more chests right away.
Yep, you're right next to just all the items, and you know, just normal, well-coded game things. Just that, just a little bit of a.
This game does not handling doing 2 things well at once. It cannot walk and chew bubblegum.
Also, Reg, a little bit used to the normal way of doing things, pulling the tongue when you don't have to anymore, because you're just heading straight.
Muscle memory, it's fine.
You have to untrain yourself to do that.
But getting that big key is really nice because we now can just go and check that big chest right along the way when we're doing freeze. So with Icebreaker, the only out-of-the-way check in Ice Palace is the iced tea. And if you don't do the Ice Palace bomb jump, getting to iced tea is so... because you don't need to drop down, you can just dash across, hit the button, and do that setup.
Yep, though it does look like Iced Tea Room does have our second item.
But look how fast this is. Like this, you know, Ice Palace goes from, you know, like a huge slog when you have to full clear it to a 3-minute...
That's half magic. That's nice.
That is super nice. Reg was, I think, still completely out of magic. At least didn't have a full bar. Would have had to farm up some to take care of Cold Stare. Oh no, wait, he had Bombos. Never mind. I'm being silly. And it looks like Cascade Hope either didn't remember or didn't check what was on Floating Island. There was only $5 up there, so wasting a little.
Correct. And I think to note about doing the new route this way with Key to Samaria and Icebreaker through Ice Palace, you do need to hit up some kind of magic refill or have bombos. Otherwise, you might not have enough magic to break the ice on the Cold Stare. The other option being to have full hearts when you go into the fight, so you can duplicate fire rod shots onto your sword beam ancillas.
Yep, and in Ambrosia it's not relevant, but in other game modes, since Cold Stare could have a key and be Samaria locked, it is something that you want to keep in mind. But since you'll have Samaria for the glitch, it's not too bad. So, and Butter Sword. Oh no, Red was just a little bit early on those. On that spin, but Gold Sword and half magic Fire Rod and Cold Stare. Just spam those Fire Rod shots.
Go crazy with it. Hey, Bugdat.
Still have the green pendant to turn in, but it's feeling a lot like Turtle Rock.
Indeed it is. I think, because I think like Twitch chat sometimes, you know, Twitch chat is always coming up with how is the worst way that this seed can play out for these runners, and it's sort of hitting me now with the whole like, well, we're gonna find the flute before we finish Turtle Rock, and then Ice Rod is gonna be in Misery Mire somewhere, just to make you have to do all that run around.
Of course, you know, have to go all the way through Turtle Rock again.
Because as much as I don't want to think like that, and I don't want to see seeds like that as a runner, there's that little like gremlin in the back of your mind when you're watching matches that's like, haha, I want to see all this weird stuff.
Well, the good news is that even if, say, like, you could have been really rude and say that, oh yeah, Flute was in Turtle Rock, and then, the Ice Rod was in the Mire Shed, and Mire required Ether, and Ether was on Trinex. Luckily, don't need to worry about that. Ether was just on Sahasrahla, so that's good at least. Reg will be able to enter the Mire area and have all the medallions.
Yep, and Reg, real quick, gonna be popping into this 5 portal here. You can go check out the Pyramid Ledge and Catfish before finally heading up the mountain and going to see what Turtle Rock has to offer us today.
Okay. So let's take a look here at the schedule again. We did say that both of these teams, whoever wins here today, will be in a 3-way tie for first place in their division. And both of these teams are going to be meeting the other first place teams in the division next week. So it's going to be Enemizer next week, which is going to be full enemy shuffle, but just health shuffle. Not, or is health shuffle on? Is it default health? The default damage?
I think it's default health.
Okay. So that's nice. So you don't need to worry about, like 4 HP Moldorms in Mini Moldorm Cave. But there will be the full boss shuffle, which means that there's going to be one of each boss, and 3 bosses will be randomly selected to have an extra copy to match those 3 extra bosses in Ganon's Tower. So not only do you have to know about dungeon requirements, you have to think about boss requirements. So while Eastern may not require the bow, you may require the hookshot for an Argus back there. Or, the memes of everybody loving, Trinex in every possible location.
Yeah, just double checking the week schedule. It looks like 100% inventory, open again 7/7, enemy shuffle, full boss shuffle.
Okay. So, when you see a Mini Moldorm, you know that it's just going to do its normal amount of damage. There's no crazy, damage shuffle. It's going to have its normal amount of health. Cascade
no
Hope.
Ganon hugs from Moldorms.
Yeah. Cascade Hope is going right down to the flooded chest. We'll get the Cane of Samaria. Have to see if they decide to then go back to left-hand side or not. We'll be able to combo it with the big key.
Yeah, so they'll be going back in looking for 2 items. Still missing the flute. You're probably going back in.
On the other hand, Cascade Hope, I'm sure, does feel behind with those deaths in Pod and Skullwoods. Might decide to gamble. Hey, you know what? I'm just going to go into Turtle Rock. Why not?
Yeah, we'll have to see what they decide. Because it's one of those times where it's like, you can't really play safe. You have to start making your risks and where you want to take them. And that could be the one that could gives them edge enough to start catching up to Reg here.
Alright, we've got Fire Rod, we've got Hookshot. We can get all the way through Laser Bridge here. This is the only location left for the runners. For Reg, rather, and also us in commentary. The worst thing here is that we're on setup to get a nice early setup for being able to skip the vanilla big key chest, and we're not going to be able to do that.
Nope. Oops, fell in the crack.
Alright, we'll have to see if Cascade decides to go back into Swamp Palace. Knows that there are 2 items left. Nice burn a dash from Reg.
Hey, there's the...
Oh, he's not going out. He's betting on Ice Rod being in here. Now, I do believe that if he mirrors on the safety door, can get to Meyer and back without losing his mirror portal.
I think that's correct because we haven't killed Aga 1, so I think that's an option.
Yeah. So what Brig will do is he'll full clear Turtle Rock and try to and then mirror on the safety door exit. He'll then save and quit to Sanctuary, activate his flute to Meyer, do all that Meyer stuff, but then rather than saving and quitting from Meyer, is going to go and die in the dark overworld and then save and continue. And then because you're saving and continuing from the overworld, that'll give you the option of choosing which respawn point you want. He'll choose the mountain, go on up East Death Mountain, and drop down to his mirror portal.
Yes, the only things that Reg will have to remember is, one, that I believe they still have a fairy in a bottle, and we'll have to take that into account. And two, if they have to mirror to go to Checkerboard Cave, because Ice Rod could...
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario. So Reg, I imagine, will check Meyer Shed and Meyer itself before checking Checkerboard.
With Checkerboard being the absolute last location of that Ice Rod.
Cascade can save time if they skip Ice Palace. Reg onto Mimic Cave here.
We're still not 100% sure on that, though, because this game could be, oh, hey, there's the Ice Rod. Never mind all of that speculation.
At 129, Reg is in go mode. Doesn't need to worry about saving a mirror portal. Can go kill Trinex right on this trip. Can potentially skip Laser Bridge with favorable keys. Oh yeah, we get favorable keys.
Yep, so we're done in here. I was going to say, depending on what the Misery Mire entrance requirement is, because it could be Ethan. This game could just be saying, you know, I just decided, hey, we're just going to do vanilla medallions today.
Oh, that would be rude. Reg, you're in go mode. You've got keys. You don't need to check any more chests. You got full health. You've got half magic. You got the Ice Rod. You got the flute. You've got all 3 medallions. And you know the silvers are on Lumberjack. Just go to Trinex, dude.
Go to Trinex. Pass go. Get that $200.
There we go. Yeah, Ether would absolutely be the rudest, requiring clearing Ice Palace for that green pendant.
Yeah, because that would make this the seed basically an Oops All Dungeons minus Hera.
Yeah, pretty much. And Hera was so easy to full clear. Oh, Reg just missing the quick setup. Managed to avoid sword beaming the ice head. That was very nicely. quick as a wink. There goes Trinex. Not looking for anything else important. Sure, we'll take an extraneous heart piece. That is crystal number 6.
Yep, we're just a hop, skip, and jump over to Meyer away from having crystal number 7.
We'll see a save and quit to Sanctuary to turn that flute on real quick. And it looks like Cascade Hope hasn't done the North Dark World checks. Is going to take the portal, check Bumper Ledge, Graveyard Ledge, and King's Tomb. Regardless, Reg still has to climb the mountain again. So, you know what? I don't know if it actually saves that much time finding the Ice Rod in Mimic Cave. Oh, Cascade has not done the Smith Chain at all. Unfortunately, not the answer. Has to follow that Cane of Samaria to Turtle Rock for both the flute and the Ice Rod. And we are a flute to 6 away from deciding, do we have double vanilla medallions?
How rude are you today, game? How mad is Cascade going to be when they find out whether they have to do Ice Palace or not?
Okay, it's Bombos. Ice Palace was 100% not required today.
Hooray!
Cascade Hope might decide to dive in there anyway, rather than having to climb the mountain. So already had to do one extra mountain climb. Cascade sequence broke the mountain early with the glove. Reg managed to go up there with Titan's Mitts and cleared everything except for Turtle Rock on that pass. Could not clear Turtle Rock at the time due to not having the Cane of Samaria, which was in Pendant Swamp. We're hoping for an early big key here in Meyer to just go head straight to the back for Vitreous. The game will probably... Oh, the game was that nice. Thank you, God Meyer.
Yeah, game at this point is just like, go ahead and just finish. Let's get this.
Oh no, Cascade Hope bonked on the thief and lost his purple chest.
Ooh. There's nothing big in there, but just it feels bad at this point.
It feels super bad. I think, yeah, he was considering save quick, but no, this is going to be the Ice Palace play. This is unfortunate. We do know that there is nothing in Ice Palace. Green pendant only leads to the Ether Medallion.
A commentator fail.
Absolutely. I'd be using that Ether Medallion all the way up Ganon's Tower.
Reg, that was, you didn't want to...
Yep.
you didn't trip switch in the first place.
Godmire throws you off sometime.
No, the anti-fairies are free.
Oh, what a pain.
Did get a free fairy out of it, though. I don't know if you call it wandering around.
Nope. So long, fairy. He's got powder, though. He can get a free fairy upstairs if he wants. Ooh, the Goops have the good prize pack with full magic and fairies and bombs. Okay. With all the health that Reg has and a butter sword, yeah, this is going to be a nice quick viddy. I'd even be going in there with spin strats. Take out... Oh,
Yep, just a couple arrows into the eye, and we are on to moving up to Gan.
poke your eye out, kid! And we get a single arrow in return. Oh, Cascade Hope also going to go and set up the icebreaker. Didn't do Diver Down. Might not have been familiar with the bomb setup, but oh, gets it first try. Nicely done for Cascade Hope. So even though there's nothing in Ice Palace, they will be saving time compared to having to do it even with the Ice Palace bomb jump. But that was crystal number 7 for Reg, and I think we play a little bit of game here. Amaranth, do you want to tell our audience about what
We are guessing for where we think the big Ganon Tower big key is. Get your guess in chat numbered from 1 through 22, where you think how evilly this seed has placed yeah, that's pretty much it. Nice and simple. We'll keep it at that. Where do you think?
I'm feeling 18. I'm feeling that we're gonna have to clear both sides here of the tower, regardless. Just with the way that things have been.
Yeah, I usually like shooting for 3 just because it's like a no key hope room, but hey, it was sitting on the torch just so that you can go left.
Cascade Hope took you a little bit of a different route. Oops. A little bit of a different route through Ice Palace, leaving Freezor and the big chest for last, so gets that half magic earlier. We'll be able to go straight to...
I was gonna say, yep, and having both items will be able to skip the big chest and just jump right on down to the big ball guy. Puffy cloud dude. Whatever you want to call Cole. Alright, Reg entering the tower. Guesses are close.
Reg studiously avoided that shield all game. Skipped the one on Desert Ledge, skipped the one in Graveyard Ledge, or on Desert Torch rather. And the game is like, no, you are finishing this game with a shield, young man.
I do not have permission to stop the bot.
There we go. 7 internet points up for grabs. 1, 2, and 3 were not the answer. Cascade Hope gets their green pendant and Bugnet. Four,
5, 6, and 7 not yielding much either, as well as just much. Looks like we are going to continue on to the left.
Yep, some runners finding keys in that Stalfos room would opt for mirroring back to the right-hand side. Get a key for key in the map chest. Nice NMG blue boom strats from Reg going through the tower. Cascade getting their last little bit of hope that, you know what, maybe this green pendant is something. We'll get a unique item, but unfortunately not a useful one. But they'll hold on to, oh, maybe that Ice Palace was required until they get their flute from Turtle Rock and go back to Mire and see, nope, it was Bombos all along.
Alrighty, so I've lost count again. This is 11 through 14 coming up here from
10 through 13.
Don't mind me. I just failed math.
that's all right. Yeah, Reg is doing the so-called Hope route, where Bob's chest is number 14. That's the only reason that I knew that. I know the Fire Snake room is number 9 in that route, and Bob is number 14, so the Rando room has to be the ones in between. I don't count anything.
Yeah, my problem is always there's some mystical, magical thing that I'm always seeming to have to do around time, and I just automatically lose count. And that was number.
That was indeed Keith. And our tracker, Yoinker's wife, guessed 15, so gets those 7 points on the leaderboard. GG's to Yoinker's wife, and a big thanks to her for pushing the buttons this afternoon, keeping those items intact. No silvers on the gauntlet for Reg. Those are sitting on Lumberjack Ledge. That is showing some nice strats here, except that Mimic being a little bit rude.
But when aren't the mimics rude?
Always so rude. Next week, with the Enemizer settings, those mimics can show up in any non-kill room. And I'll tell you what, when you're trying to hit a switch or place a block on a button, they will be sure to get in your way. So you'll spend about 3 minutes trying to maneuver them out of the way so you can get that switch. The gauntlet, ironically, usually an Enemizer, tends to be a bit easier. The gauntlet normally is called as such because it's full of not necessarily hard enemies, but ones that like to get away from you and your strats. The gauntlet is all about execution and deciding on the fly what's the best way to take care of this room. Is it my sword? Is it a sword beam? Is it the bow or the fire rod?
Yeah, bow is my go-to for the gauntlet.
And Cascade Hope is leaving Turtle Rock after getting the flute. Unfortunate.
Yeah, probably betting that the ice rod is somewhere in the mire area. Can't really blame because the way the seed has been rolling so far. Yeah, it's one of
Yeah, so they will be checking Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave and doing a full clear of Mire.
Also, I like that strat from Moldorm too that Reg did. Sort of an intentional delay waiting in the room prior. If you take too long to open the door to go into Moldorm to land moles too, all the land moles will spawn at the same time, and being able to do that spin slash and hit all of them is actually really.
Yep, and that can be done with tempered or butter. This is another room that's going to be easier in Enemizer next week, unless that fire bar gets replaced by a chain chomp. Don't ask me how I know that. Alright, we are on our way to Moldworm 2 as Cascade Hope activates the flute. Gonna go to 6 and see that that Ice Palace was for naught.
Reg are making their way through the last couple rooms here, not having to check any of these final chests here because there's nothing else you could possibly want. We have powder, we have fire rod, we have lamp. No silvers because we can't get to those. One thing you could have maybe wanted as a cape, but not really going to be necessary with the gold sword on Ganon today.
Nope. Alright. Through Moldorm 2 into the Mini Helma. Another room that is particularly awful in Enemizer.
Ice, spikes, and bumpers everywhere, oh my. Mix that with whatever strange enemizer decides to throw your way and you're just in for a time of fun.
Ooh.
Hey, speaking of the
Where's
cave.
that? Greg had a zero on the first phase of Aghanim, and I think that was only 1 on for 2. These agate patterns are not kind.
Yeah, sometimes they just play dirty, especially once they start getting...
Oh, that was a nice. Got the double. Aghanim is down, and it is indeed time for the Ganon fight. Buttersword, Silverless, not a difficult fight at all. Phases 1 and 2 are going to be gone in a flash. Reg may go and try to set up for the quick 1 and 1 with spin strats to really take them down quickly, but if not, 6 slashes each will take care of it. Yeah, Reg just going for the slash strats. No need to do anything fancy for this. Quickly on to phase 3. Already getting his lamp out to do the torch glitch. Cascade Hope sees that early big key and realizes, oh no, I've made a terrible mistake.
Getting that extra Silverless.
Nice.
Yep, and with half magic, switching to the Fire Rod.
Yeah, that gives you a nice setup to potentially get some triple phases in here. You only need 12 spins with the Buttersword. Buttersword and Tempered does not matter for this last phase because Butter spins do the exact same damage as Tempered spins.
And that's the 12 spin for Red. Get your GGs in chat. That is one dead pig. Following this fanfare, just have to cross the bridge and collect their Triforce, and they will have won.
GG's to Reg, finishing in first place with an SRL time of 1:49.15. Getting the big 3 points for Team 63 1/3, who will go to 9 points at the end of week 2 of this randomizer league. We will get Reg in here for an interview.
Almost pulled Reg to the wrong channel. GG's, welcome Reg.
GG's, and well played.
Thank you. That was probably the nicest full clear I've had in a while, so that doesn't feel too bad.
This was a really fascinating seed that we got the ability to full clear the light world so early. You did it kind of last location your Moon Pearl, but it wasn't really a big deal.
Nah, it wasn't, because I got 2 crystals before I did it, and seeing the Moon Pearl, I was half expecting that to be the lamp and to have to go up the mountain, but it was the Pearl, so I just took it right on to Skull Woods and kept the crystal train going. I really like that.
Yep, it was really good. I think the only thing that could have possibly done Major Light World Route more efficient is if you did the water walk to get the bow out of Waterfall Cave early and avoid having to double dip desert. But even then, that wasn't that bad.
That would have been the glove off Zora, right? I agree it still could have been better either way, but...
Well, right.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No. Any other thoughts about this seed? We'll talk about some of the fun things we noticed with your execution.
My Aga 2 was a disaster, and I'm sorry that literally anybody had to watch that.
Wasn't too bad. You got a double hit at the end.
Sometimes Saga 2 just doesn't work out, right?
Yeah, basically. But I think the only other thing I can really cite that I'm unhappy with is the back of Swamp Palace. I think the rest I was pretty good with this seed.
Are you mostly disappointed that you didn't get the second diver down immediately, or that Cane of Samaria was right there?
Both, because I spent a large part of the morning trying to find good shadow-based setups for diver down. And obviously you saw I had it for the first one. I thought I had it for the one in the back too, but apparently not.
And had you been practicing both Bomb and Samaria, and were you a little bit more comfortable with Samaria, or about equally comfortable?
Samaria is super free, so I had not practiced that much, but enough that I am confident I could get it about 100% of the time.
Well, still fantastic, showing off both, even though you didn't get the second diver down, getting that first one was really nice. Saves a lot of time when you have to check left side swamp for an item.
Yep.
And also big GG's on getting that icebreaker, I think on the third try.
Yeah, that's one you can tell if you get it right on the first try, and then if you don't, you just gotta wing it. So when I lost the first try, it was pretty whatever, I'll just do it.
And had you been practicing them before the council approved them, or have you only been practicing them for the 24 hours since the announcement yesterday?
I started practicing Icebreaker like literally as soon as the announcement came down yesterday, so I could use it in the standard weekly yesterday. I didn't even start practicing Diver Down till this morning when somebody convinced me it was worth the time save for left side of Swamp.
And do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's nice. So, for Diver Down, it was only like a couple of hours practice and you got it down?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Neither of these tricks are terribly difficult once you know them. You just got to invest a little bit of time to learn the setups. I would say Spooky is harder than either.
And yeah, unfortunately, your Spooky setup, you got it, but it wasn't necessary.
Yeah, Spooky is another trick. Like, I was out of racing for about 2 years before coming back to play in the league, and I had never taught myself Spooky before that. So that's another trick I taught myself literally this past week, and I was just excited to get to use it. And then, nope.
Okay, and then back to the logic. When you found that flute in Turtle Rock, was there any part of you thinking I should just nope out?
Absolutely not, because the only locations I had left possible to check at that time were Meyer area and Checkerboard Cave. And as long as it wasn't in Checkerboard Cave specifically, I could have saved my portal by just dying.
Yeah, that's where we were wondering if that was going through your head. Unfortunately, Cascade Hope did opt to flute out after mirror out after finding the flute. Full cleared Mire, and is now back inside Turtle Rock. But yeah, that's really good reading of your items left. Maybe if you still had Pyramid or Catfish, because you did make a point to go and clear those out of the way before climbing the mountain again.
Yeah, even then, like, basically, it's if I
since they weren't mirror locked. Yeah,
if I had mirror spots left besides Checkerboard Cave. But yeah, I had a hunch about Ice Palace specifically and the Ice Rod. And then after that, Pyramid and Catfish were just me tying up the loose ends and making sure I didn't totally bite myself before last location in Turtle Rock.
So how about all those swords?
I was expecting Aga. But then the lamp just never showed up, so I was like, hey, cool.
Well, congratulations on getting the extra 3 points for your team this week. Going to be in a 3-way tie with the Titans, Mitts, and Fendrana Drifters going into week 3 for Enemizer. And you guys are actually facing Fendrana Drifters next week.
Yeah, I'm not hopeful for that. I think that both me and Kuchari, who are playing that, should rightfully be considered underdogs for our games, but just gonna let it all play out, and maybe it'll go in my favor.
Well, you are scheduled to face Frostbite 3030 on Wednesday for Game 1 of Week 3. Been looking forward to a lot of Enemizer practice.
I've had a little bit. Mostly, my big takeaway so far is that you can get 1.0'd in Moldworm 2 by various different bosses.
Oh, yeah, that would be a thing. I can imagine blind beams. Oh no, blind can't be in Moldworm 2, but Mothula can.
Mothula can, Vitreous can, and if you go for aggressive strats, it sucks. Who else would be bad for that?
Helmasaur.
Helmasaur.
The one thing with Helmasaur I found when he's in Moldworm 1 is that he likes to hang out right over the hole, so you can't hit his map.
Yeah. I've got some strategies in mind, but I'm not that experienced with Enemizer. I've played a few practice, but I haven't seen some of the really weird situations that I've seen other runners run into before. So just going to play it by ear and hopefully do my best with it.
Absolutely. Cascade Hope did get their Ice Rod out of Mimic Cave, is going all the way through Ganon's Tower. I think they skipped the big chest, so we'll have to go through Laser Bridge looking for a small key.
If I remember my counts correctly, there should be one there. Although I guess I should ask, I did turn on the restream after I finished just to see the state of the race, how close it was. Looks like we were basically along the same route with Cascade Hope finishing Ice Palace as I turned in. Did anything in particular happen, or did it just turn out that way?
It just turned out that way. Cascade had a lot of issues with deaths. When they got their Dark World access earlier, they fake flippered to Zora and got their glove, so could do the single clear of desert. And then broke the mountain and cleared Hera first, got their hook shot early. But then when they went to the Dark World, they decided to go right and do Pod and Eastern immediately.
That was sort of the exact route I was concerned about when I saw the Samario location, and then when I saw that Meyer was Bombos instead of Ether. But
yeah, unfortunately, had a lot of issues in the Turtle Room in Dark Pod. Died twice on the way to Helmasaur. And oh no, he's out of magic and is mirroring out. Oh, yeah, needs to get the key from the big chest.
There was no key on Laser Bridge. I miscounted.
Oh, that's another unfortunate thing. Sure, doesn't feel great. And also had a lot of issues in Skull Woods. I think other than that, the only thing was that they had to do an extra climb up the mountain since they did not have Titan's Mitts going up there.
Yeah, although I could have seen that being a save, considering Hookshot plus Samaria could have done Turtle Rock on the second climb with the Mitts if they were so inclined. But I guess you mentioned early pod, that would have been pre-lamp, right?
It was indeed pre-lamp.
Yeah, even with Fire Rod in hand, I can see a lot of issues with the dark rooms there. That's probably the part of my game that I used to be good at, but I struggle with the most now.
Cascade Hope did not have quite enough magic to go and I think could have hookshotted to this chest, but the dark maze wouldn't have had enough to make a platform. Although I think in the room where you bonk across, The next room over has a...
That sounds accurate.
Or could have killed the Hokubokus with the butter sword and got the magic pot in that other room where you have the decision between going down to the eye lasers or out to the big key door.
Were Hokubokus in the magic prize pack? I can't even remember anymore.
I don't recall. I know the blueberries were, but there's no blueberries in Turtle Rock. Blueberries had the really good prize pack.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was some enemy that I specifically recalled as being in the magic-only prize pack. And I'd planned to keep that in mind in case I needed something clutch, but it never came into play and I've forgotten now.
Oh, so one other comment. After you tried really hard to avoid all of the shields escape, how did that fighter shield and hope room feel?
Made me wish I'd gone back and grabbed one of the other two. Because I like the fire shield. I do not like the fighter shield.
Yeah, fighter shield is really useless. Mirror shield causes a lot of lag, but the fire shield's useful for reflecting those fireballs from the shooters, from blind, from anything else.
Yeah, like Manmo 2 is the one room in the game where I actually care about what shield I have. I guess it's sort of nice on Laser Bridge, just not having to worry about skips going in, but yeah, well. I'm going to go ahead and I think unless we've got anything else we want to cover, I'm going to duck out for a while.
No, I think we're good. So GG's, and we will cover Cascade's climb up the tower.
All right. Send my GGs to Cascade when they finish and get here. Other than that, look forward to Wednesday.
For sure. GG, and good luck, Greg.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, if you want to follow Reg and Cascade Hope as well, do a little !R in the chat. See their Twitch handles. Following them is the best way to know when your favorite runners are racing. Watching their practice, learning some strats, asking them some questions. It's free, it helps the runners out, gives you entertainment. Also, a big shout out to my co-com and restreamer, Amaranth. Thank you so much, Amaranth, for joining me.
Yes, it's been fun.
And once again, a huge shout out to our tracker, Yoinker's wife, hitting the buttons, keeping those up, lovely things, letting us know where the runners are at. Cascade also doing the Hope route, as their name implies. Unless they mirror out of this room and maybe doing a Pink Magician strat. We'll see what happens.
One of these days, I'll actually learn the difference between all the different magicians, because there's a little, like Pink Magician, Dark Magician. There's probably a Green Magician too that I don't know about.
So Pink Magician involves checking Hope Room first. Then, if you find enough keys, mirroring out of Stelphos. Then, if you find a key in Hope Room, then you go right. Now, Dark Magician involves going straight to the Stelphos room, mirroring out, looking to see if you find a key in Hope Room, and if you do find a key, then you go full right. Otherwise, you'll go back left. But Hope Route is what most runners do, where you check those first two chests, go full left, and then go full right.
Good to know.
Just 5 more checks for Cascade's big key, which was in Bob's chest. We talked about that Team 63 1/3 is facing the Fendrana Drifters next week. Team Skullwood's Big Skip is going to be facing the Titans Mitts. One of those matches is scheduled. Fleck will be facing Dante tomorrow night at 6:10 for their Game 1 of Enemizer Week.
That sounds like it'll be an interesting match. I'll have to catch that one if I can.
For sure. Match 2 has not been scheduled yet. We'll have to see if Cascade Hope lets us know if they're going to be running Enemizer next week or if it's going to be their third teammate, Chemo. Rest of the schedule for these two teams for Skullwood's Big Skip. In Cross Keys Week, they're going to be facing the Tile Roomies. In I'm forgetting what's in. Oh no! And is it Cross Keys after Enemizer, or is it Mystery after Enemizer?
Mystery and then Cross Keys.
Okay, so Tile Roomies will be Mystery Week. Beard Force 1 will be Cross Keys Week. Broken Triforce for the Spoiler Key Sanity pilot race. And they're going to finish out their Randomizer League regular season against the Fendrana Drifters with the shared info.
That one's actually turning out to be a pretty favorite mode of mine. I've been practicing it a little bit. It's really kind of fun. If you haven't done one, I really recommend doing an info share with a friend.
It can be a lot of fun, especially when you go and decide who wants to route what, how to split your checks up. The co-op spoiler is also a really big hoot where, unlike regular spoiler log races where the runner gets the spoiler log early, has time to plan and route, when go hits, the pilot gets the spoiler log, the runner gets the seed, and the pilot's got to tell the runner what chests to check, which ones to don't. And it's going to be up to the pilot and the runner to communicate what safeties they want or don't need, what they. And yeah, Team 63 and a third. Enemizer Week, once again, they're facing the Fendrana Drifters. Mystery Week, they're facing Broken Triforce. Now, Mystery Seeds are a fun new addition where not only are the items randomized, so are the settings, and the comms or the players and the audience have no idea what's going to happen until the seed is run. It could be a pedestal seed, it could be Triforce Hunt, might be a fast Ganon with reduced crystals. I think all dungeons is in the pool. You could be getting Key Sanity or Enemizer or any other combination of nonsense in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of really fun modes in there. Actually, to correct you, Triforce Hunt is not one of the modes that you can get.
Ah, my mistake.
Actually, I'll see if I can pull it up for chat here real quick, just see if I can't find the league weights. They're around here somewhere.
Then for Cross Keys Week, which is my personal favorite week, Team 63rd and the 3rd is going to be facing What Are You Doing in My Swamp Palace? Cross Keys is an entrance randomizer where connectors can be connected between the light world and the dark world, or vice versa. Connectors can be caves with multiple entrances or dungeons with multiple entrances, such as Desert Palace or Turtle Rock. And the keys is a full key sanity. Maps, compasses, small keys, and big keys shuffled into the pool. Cross Keys is situated on routing and efficiency, that you want to only enter a dungeon when you can full clear it, but sometimes double dipping is required. You need to go enter a dungeon without the ability to full clear it to get something to get into another dungeon. Pod, I am looking at you.
all the usual suspects of those dirty double dipping dungeons.
Absolutely. And then for the spoiler co-op week, they're facing the Tile Roomies, and for the All Dungeons co-op info week, they are facing the Titans Knits. Of course, this is only one of 8 divisions, as Cascade Hope has completed Moldorm 2, is on to Aghanim 2. Maybe we'll have a little bit better luck with the Aghanim patterns. But there are 8 other divisions with 8 teams each. 64 teams in this Season 2 Randomizer League. That means 64 matches a week. Broadcast right here, either on the ALTTPR League or ATLRP League 2 through 4, and our partners at Speed Gaming, or broadcast on Speed Gaming 2 through 6. So give all those channels a follow if you don't want to miss a moment of Randomizer League action. Unfortunately for today, there were 3 matches starting at 2:10. I believe the other ones have all wrapped up, so for today there's nothing else, but there's plenty of matches from previous weeks on the ALTTPR League YouTube channel. The volunteers have been furiously highlighting VODs and getting them on there. Cascade Hope had a fantastic Aga 2 and is on to Ganon.
All right.
Alright, Cascade Hope did get the nice early hit before Ganon gives a text box. It's on the similar kind of cycle that we saw from Reg, just doing the slashes, but uses the cape to save a little bit of health as the fire bats come on. With half magic, that's not a bad use, even though we do know that Silverless is coming up.
Yeah, and even if you start getting a little bit close on magic, you can always just switch to the lamp instead of using the fire rod, and you have way more lamp lights.
Missed a couple of the Ganon hits during the Phase 2 teleports and got bodied by the fire bats quite mercilessly. Down to 2 hearts. Got the torch glitch with a single lamp span. That was very nice timing. Almost impossible to get triples with a lamp setup. You need that fire rod, but in favor of saving magic, I don't blame Cascade Hope for doing this.
And Silverless Ganon is just all about taking it slow.
Yeah, exactly. You're waiting for that frame just as Ganon goes invisible to teleport to do your swing. Doubles means that it's only 6 cycles, but even if you only get 1 cycle, 12 cycles isn't that bad. Do want to be careful when Ganon is down at the bottom edge, because it's very easy to bounce off of Ganon and end up falling.
Ooh.
Oh,
that was a rough teleport.
That was really rough. Usually Ganon from that top corner likes to teleport down to the middle, but decided to teleport right into the corner where Cascade was lighting.
Yeah, I thought he had him stopped soon enough with the lamp light, but I guess the game continued Ganon all the way down and forced.
Oh, using some dash poke strats. Very nice. That's a very nice tech from Cascade. getting different Ganon warps. Anytime you have to, if you fall or die to Ganon, you get different teleport paths. Down to 3 hearts again.
Yeah, just gonna have to play as safe as possible.
Yep, did it on 2 hearts last time. Imagine it'll be just as easy this time, but is very low on magic. Quite a few more lamp spams this time required to get. None of the other bottles we had a potion in it, and I don't believe Cascade Hope visited the potion shop.
I believe you are correct on that. I think we have just a bottle with a B in it, I think. Ooh, accidentally walked off the edge there, trying to avoid the fire.
You know, this isn't going to be too bad. Can bonk the tree to get a fairy, or mirror and flute quickly to 2 to get a potion refill.
Probably wouldn't be too bad of an idea considering how much magic we have.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough. Even if you get Torch Glitch first time, you'll only be able to get doubles. That's going to require another 6 lamp lightings. Might be just barely enough. Yeah, not enough magic to pull off the cape straps this time.
Yep, and takes a death. So. Nope, we're going right back on it. I guess if it really does come down to it, you can just, if you know how to do it, do the Samaria refill.
Yep, that's a fun and Scylla setup where you use a Samaria block and bombs, and it refills your magic.
Just like magic.
So with these new glitches that have been approved by the council, is Cane of Samaria the most powerful item in the game?
I mean, it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of Link to the Past, right? Like there's nothing that Cane of Samaria can't break.
Yeah, we've got the fake flipper setups. It can be used in the blind fight. You can use it in the Armos fight. Landmo. I don't think it does anything to Vidi or Cold Stare. But you could theoretically use it in Vidi or Cold Stare to refill your magic, but those fights are a little bit too hectic. I have seen it used in Trinex, however, to refill magic. All right, we're on to phase 4. I think we've only got 2 lamp shots left. Got a nice triple, though. That was very impressive.
Yep, had the timing just right on that one. Yeah, now we're down to 2 lamp lights after this one.
Oh, this is going to be close. Waiting for Ganon to teleport.
Get them down.
Whew! Get some GGs in chat for Cascade Hope. Finishes. Just needs to go and cross the bridge. An official SRL time of 2:20:42. And we are joined here in chat by Cascade Hope G.
GG.
So bit of a rough seed for you.
Okay, so I had very, very bad luck with the just at the beginning of Escape. I can't believe I ended up dying to the blue guard. He just did not get out of inside me, so I couldn't actually hit him away. And especially after finding Master Sword in there, that was kind of silly. Let's see. I had liked the idea that I wanted to do the Dark Pod, and it would have been great if it paid off. Or it would have been great because it would have paid off, but I died to turtles when I was confirming which map I was on, because I had it open on my other screen, and as soon as I looked away, I got hit, but a turtle walked into me after my last hit. I could have done Helma just fine with that little bit of health, but I just did not pay attention, and that cost me there. And then, I can't believe I managed to miss a chest after dropping down in Skull Woods. That was, or like, didn't even drop in Skull Woods until afterwards. I was just doing my chest counts and didn't even think about those ones. And those would be the biggest ones that I know cost me some time, and also pretty bad Ganon, but by that time, Reg was already done.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but some really good things is breaking the mountain, getting that hook shot early. That was really nice. You could have saved some time if you didn't follow those Titans mitts up the mountain immediately, but it totally makes sense after going back to Pod, since Pod was your last location, getting those Titans mitts and then following them up the mountain rather than dipping Independent Swamp.
Mm-hmm. What did Reg end up doing? Did he go immediately to Pendant Swamp, or?
No, he last locationed his Moon Pearl. So you got the Moon Pearl earlier.
Oh, okay.
So Reg had followed the Book to Desert after Mini Moldorm Cave and didn't do Fake Flippers checks.
Okay.
So you got the single desert clear.
Yeah.
But one thing I did wanted to ask you is, you went and you got your Moon Pearl, and then you were, deciding back and forth whether or not to do desert or go into the Dark World. You did end up going to desert.
Yeah.
Then afterworld, when you went to the Dark World, you started at Link's house, and rather than going into the Dark World there, you went all the way to the Flute 5 portal. Any reason you did that rather than check Hype Cave first?
The only reason why I did, I wanted to finish off Eastern just to do the last check that would have actually been Logic. But right beforehand, I was like, well, I might as well get a Dark Portal ready to do Pod as well. That way I can clear those up and then head downwards and wrap around that way. But,
okay. I mean, you still had the mirror, so you could have done Eastern by checking Hype Cave, then running up and having your portal.
I could. When I was over there, I started heading towards Eastern. And then I'm like, wait, I have a mirror. I could set one up to do Pod, and then I was going to do Pod first, which I ended up entering Pod for a quick second. Then I'm like, wait, no, I should do Eastern first, so I can try to avoid dark rooms.
Gotcha.
But,
okay.
Yeah, that was me just spacing on what I had, and then going into a weird direction from it, but.
And yeah, so then Swamp Palace required there for that Cane of Samaria. I was curious, Reg showed us Diver Down in Swamp Palace. Are you familiar with Diver Down?
I actually am familiar with it. I just learnt it yesterday, and where was the Samaria cane again?
It was in the 2 flooded chests.
Oh, right, okay, so how do you do the Diver Down before Samaria?
So what you could do is you could avoid draining the water. You just, do the Diver Down to clip through the rail, and you can just open those chests as if they were, not underwater.
Yeah.
There is a bomb setup to do it as well.
Okay, that's the one I didn't know. I know about the cane setup for it, but I didn't know about any other setup.
Yeah, it was back a couple weeks ago, and a little bit after Diver Down had been introduced, and then so I was like, oh hey, by the way, never mind the cane, you can do this just with bombs, so enjoy.
Oh, yeah, that's good to know. I'll have to look into that setup.
Yep, and then really nicely done Icebreaker, first try in Ice Palace.
Yeah, that one I'm happy that I've been practicing a bunch just for the fun of it, and then as soon as they said yesterday that I'm allowed to do it, I'm like, yes.
It's a shame that Ice Palace didn't lead to anything this seed, but
Yeah.
there was that small chance that maybe Maya required Ether, but did your heart break when you saw Bombos on Maya and realized that Ice Palace was not?
A little bit, but I just wanted to at least confirm that before I had to dip Turtle Rock just to try to find either Ice Rod or the flute, and unfortunately it had both. Well, in a way.
Yeah. That was the other big divergence, is that Reg knew that when he found he didn't have anything other than Checkerboard and Mire area left, so he knew that, well, Ice Rod is either in Turtle Rock or I can save my portal if I go to the Mire area.
Yeah.
And so he just continued on through Turtle Rock, and you decided, you know what, I gotta know. Let's get to Mire.
Yeah. Yeah, that I was thinking that was the better call, but at the same time, like, I didn't want to have to go all the way through when I knew I had to search for Big Key anyway. So I'm like, I might as well go over to Mire just in case it's there, because otherwise I have to dip 3 times.
Exactly. Well, GG's once again. Your team is facing off against the Titans Mitts next week in Enemizer, with Dante facing your teammate Fleck tomorrow night. Do you know who your second teammate's going to be racing next week?
I believe Chimo will be the one that's racing for next week. Yeah.
All right, and this was your first race of the league, I believe?
Second. I won my match in the open race.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You had faced Scrub Casual.
Correct.
Okay, so do you know which modes you're looking forward to coming up for your other?
Yes, I'm actually the one that I wanted to do was the mystery, but we'll see where I end up. And I just wanted to make the correction. I did not face Scrub Casual. I just remembered I faced
Digidude.
Digidude, yes, that's correct.
Okay, there we go. Well, GG's once again, and just passing on a GG from Reg as well, who is in here. Well played to both of you, and just a reminder to follow both of our runners. Their Twitch handles are in chat. Be sure to follow ALTTPR League and the ALTTPR League 2 through 4, Speed Gaming 2 through 6 to catch all of the randomizer action next week. Enjoying the Randomizer League Season 2. 64 races to be played. We'll try to get them all on there. Big thanks to my co-com Amrith, as well as who is also doing the restreaming in the background, and Yoinker's wife. I am Mind of Me. Be sure to take care of each other. Bye-bye.
Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.